There's breaking news in the 2024 presidential race. Former Vice President Mike Pence declaring tonight that he cannot, in quote, good conscience, endorse Donald Trump. CNN's Kristen Holmes is following the story for us. Kristen, what is Pence saying about his decision?
Well, Wolf, it was surprising and unsurprising at the same time. The two men served side by side. Essentially, Donald Trump was the boss of Mike Pence, and Mike Pence was one of the most loyal soldiers to the former president up until January 6th, when he bucked a pressure campaign mounted by the former president and his allies to overturn the 2020 election. Today, no real mention of January 6th when saying he would not endorse former President Donald Trump, but this is what he had to say.
Donald Trump is pursuing and articulating an agenda that is at odds with the conservative agenda that we governed on during our 4 years. And that's why I cannot, in good conscience, endorse Donald Trump in this campaign.
Now, the former vice president there is pinning it to these conservative values. We know that he also has launched this $20 million effort to secure conservative values. He's really trying to chart a path for himself as this Reagan conservative within the Republican Party that really has started to come completely under former President Donald Trump. But while he doesn't mention Trump and his behavior right away or at all, you have to remember what happened when Pence entered the race, which was essentially Donald Trump went after him. He called him weak. He said he didn't have the courage to overturn the election, do what needed to be done on January 6th. And Pence has stood up to Donald Trump on that, essentially saying that Trump is wrong about what Pence's power was on January 6th, what his power was in terms of certifying the election. It's not that surprising, again, that this is where he ended up. But it is surprising that he unequivocally said in an interview that he is not endorsing him. He could have just ignored the question. He could have said, oh, I'm going to answer that at another time. Instead, he made a decision to say, in fact, I am not supporting my former boss. I am not supporting former President Donald Trump.
A very significant moment indeed. Kristen Holmes reporting for us. Thank you very much. I want to bring back CNN political commentators S.E. Cupp and Maria Cardona. S.E., this is a remarkable shift from Mike Pence, at least my perception. What do you make of him saying he can't endorse his former running mate?
Well, it is remarkable. This is a vice president saying he's not going to endorse the guy he served for 4 years and served very loyally. That is remarkable. However, pinning the reason on policy disagreements feels a bit like a cop-out. To say he's now at odds with the conservative agenda. Trump has always been at odds with a conservative agenda, whether that was the debt and the deficit, limited government, family values, protectionism. Mike Pence seemed to be fine with all of that. And in fact, Donald Trump exploded the debt and the deficit with Mike Pence's help. It's just crazy to me that Mike Pence can't say after all of this time, now that he's made it official, he's not endorsing him. It's because Donald Trump is dangerous. It's because he led an insurrection. It's because he's corrupt. It's because he's facing criminal indictments. It's because he's anti-America and anti-democratic. He can't say all the very obvious things. He has to say they now have policy disagreements. It's just so mealy-mouthed and a pretty, I think, impotent way to end what was once a pretty promising political career for Mike Pence.
Interesting. Maria, as all of us remember, Pence was a very loyal vice president to Donald Trump during his presidency. How surprised are you by this?
Well, I am surprised because I thought his cowardice would continue since it has been a reality up until now. So why now, I suppose. And frankly, I would have had a lot more respect for him had he said, I cannot in good conscience endorse someone who called for his MAGA supporters to murder me, because that's exactly what Donald Trump did. And so moving forward, look, it does give Democrats a talking point by saying Donald Trump's own vice president did not endorse him, does not believe he is up for the job. And so that's one thing that it gives us. But at the end of the day, I really don't think it matters, because let's remember, Mike Pence doesn't even really have his own base because he never was really able to stand up for what he believes.
S.E., do you think this decision by Pence could potentially impact independent voters out there, or maybe even Republicans who are skeptical of Trump?
I mean, as Maria just indicated, Pence has no constituency. He's really irrelevant in the Republican Party. And listen, I mean, a bunch of us are. But he's made himself irrelevant because in carrying Trump's water, he turned off principled conservatives
Right.
like me. But in not carrying it all the way across the finish line on January 6th, he became traitorous to the rest of the MAGA Republican Party. So I'm not sure his opinion matters all that much. And for independents and moderates, they're certainly not taking their lead from Mike Pence's, political compass, because we've not really seen it point due north this entire time.
It's interesting, Maria. Mike Pence referenced January 6th during that Fox interview. We all remember him having to be evacuated from the Capitol as the rioters were storming the building and chanted for him to be hanged. Do you think Pence would be declining to endorse Trump if not for the events of that day?
That's a really good question, Wolf. I would like to say, again, giving him the benefit of a whole lot of doubt here, that maybe he does believe that Donald Trump has turned around on conservative principles. But to Essie's point, he did that for 4 years with Mike Pence's help as vice president. And so that's why I said earlier that I think I would have more respect for him had he made that issue, had he made January 6th, the fact that Donald Trump is dangerous, that he tried to steal an American election, that he inspired the MAGA folks to come and attack the Capitol, murdering policemen, calling for murdering the VP. If he had led with those reasons, Wolf, I would have had a lot more respect for him. And maybe we could say, well, that was the reason. That was the red line in the sand for Mike Pence. But then again, why did it take so freaking long?
Maria Cardona and S.E. Cupp, to both of you, thank you very, very much.